Who is Leo Tolstoy? Leo Tolstoy was a Russian author and philosopher best known for his epic novels. On September 9, 1828, he was born in Yasnaya Polyana, Russian Empire. His two longest works was War and Peace and Anna Karenina are recognized as among the best novels ever written. On November 20, 1910, at the age of 82, Leo Tolstoy died at Astapovo, Russian Empire. So let's discuss the synopsis of the story. Ivan Aksionov was a merchant in the town of Vladimir. When he decided to go to the fair, he frightened her wife since she had a nasty dream in which Aksionov's hair went grayish. Aksionov felt that was a lucky sign at the time, so he begged to go to the fair and said goodbye. As he arrived, he noticed a merchant guy approaching him. They had a cup of tea before retiring to bed for the night. But when the cops opened his suitcase, they discovered a knife with a blood stain. The police said that the merchant's neck had been slashed and that Aksionov was the one who killed the businessman. Aksionov was arrested. He explained why he was imprisoned. Aksionov constantly prayed to God. Makar Semyonich was introduced to him. Makar threatens Aksionov with death, but Aksionov dismisses the threat, and Makar went to him and told him the truth, that he was the killer, not him. Makar cried gently and begged Aksionov to forgive him. When the time came for Aksionov to be released from prison, he died. So what is the context of God Sees the Truth But Waits? God Sees the Truth But Waits by Leo Tolstoy was published in 1872. It was written in Russia and the genre is short story and parable, and the setting is Siberia and Russia. The story is told in the third person limited omniscient from Aksionov's point of view. The protagonist of the narratives is Ivan Aksionov, while the main antagonist is Makar. The climax of the fable occurs when Makar admits to framing Aksionov for the death of Aksionov's merchant friend. Moreover, God Sees the Truth But Waits is a story about faith, guilt, forgiveness, and acceptance while being imprisoned for 26 years for a crime he did not commit. Finally, the parable is about forgiveness and delves into theological and spiritual concerns. The story was analyzed from philosophical approach or perspective. In fact, it gives an optimistic picture of life in which our lives are not flawless. There are always imperfection and we can lose everything, but God remains committed to supporting us despite everything. The protagonist, Aksionov, best articulates this point of view because despite experiencing pessimism and pain, he chooses to put his faith in God. The author's attitude toward his world is filled with injustices and shortcomings. He believes that his world in God's creations and hence it respects both God and humanity. Additionally, faith is defined as uncontrolled. Faith is founded on the idea that the world has an inherent order that cannot be modified regardless of what we do. Finally, the author regards God as an amazing entity that can observe everything without being told. In a nutshell, God already knows the truth about everything. Moreover, the author's definition of good is what behaviors are right and will definitely benefit others. What is good is what is morally right and acceptable in God's eyes. On the other hand, evil is defined as sins or wrongdoings that cause harm to others. In basic terms, the author defines evil as morally indefensible and deeply immoral in God's eyes. Additionally, in the story, the good are punished and the evil are rewarded in the narrative. That was evident in the story when the innocent Aksionov was punished for misdeeds he never committed. Makar, the main suspect, was rewarded for living freely despite committing immorality. But in the conclusion of the story, God's grace rewards the good and punishes the evil. Lastly, the story tells people that it is natural for humans to encounter an unjust judicial system due to their inherent flaws, because people are fundamentally flawed. Furthermore, it claims that humans are created with emotional and physical requirements in order to avoid suffering and risk in their lives. People will occasionally commit sins in order to be safe and socially acceptable. As a result, the work teaches people that humans have imperfections as well as mistakes, that we are not perfect like God. Finally, God Sees the Truth But Waits has provided me with several life lessons and realizations. The story taught me that at the end of the day, only God sees everything, but there is a perfect moment for everything. We just simply have to wait for the right time to fulfill His intentions for us in the end. I learned that if we have faith, there won't be any reason for us to give up. Moreover, the story enlightens me that forgiveness and acceptance are a bridge to tranquility. Regardless of chaos, we must learn to forgive. Nevertheless, I have understood that even a fearless and immoral man like Makar can change. As a result, he is a living proof that anybody can change and there is hope for positive change. Therefore, I am grateful to hear this story because it reminds me that our God will sit with me in my darkest times and remain present when the light comes.